container on the highway looks ordinary, a steel box moving from one place to another. But before it reached that road, it may have crossed an ocean on a vessel nearly 400 meters long, carrying hundreds of thousands of tons of cargo. Now picture the crew needed to run it. 100 people? 200? On many modern container ships, the answer is closer to 20. That small team must navigate, monitor the engines, maintain critical systems, respond to emergencies, and keep everything moving for months. So how can so few people operate something the size of a floating city? The answer begins with a change that transformed modern shipping. The ships became larger while the crews became smaller. Let's get into it right here on Simple Things Revealed. A giant ship that is almost empty. Walk out from the accommodation block at the stern and the scale becomes hard to judge. Ahead is a long steel corridor, flanked by container stacks that rise like buildings. Reaching the bow can take almost 10 minutes. Along the way, a crew member may not pass another person. The ship is full of cargo, but almost empty of people. A large container vessel may sail with only 18 to 25 crew members. They are spread across the bridge, engine room, deck, workshops, galley, and living quarters. Some navigate, while others inspect machinery, repair equipment, prepare meals, or sleep before the next watch. Because they are separated by hundreds of meters, several crew members may not cross paths during a normal day. A few decades ago, a cargo ship might have needed around 60 people. Modern vessels use automatic steering, centralized engine controls, alarms, and monitoring systems that allow fewer people to supervise more machinery. Many routine tasks no longer require someone standing beside the equipment all day. That does not make the work simple. It makes each person more important. When an alarm sounds below deck, there is no spare department waiting nearby. The crew on board must find the fault, repair it, and keep the voyage on schedule. Automation reduced the crew. It did not reduce the hours the ship must remain under control. When time stops behaving normally. A typical contract at sea lasts 6 to 9 months. During that period, weekends exist on the calendar, but not in the usual sense. The ship continues through Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays. Engines keep running, navigation systems stay active, and someone must always be awake. On many deep-sea vessels, officers work a 4-on, 8-off watch system. A person may stand watch from midnight to 4 a.m., leave the bridge before sunrise, and return from noon to 4 p.m. 8 hours off sounds comfortable until you see what has to fit inside it. An officer on the midnight watch may go for months without one continuous 8-hour sleep. Meals, showers, paperwork, drills, maintenance, and unexpected jobs all take time. Sleep is whatever remains. Instead of one long night, rest comes in separate blocks until the body accepts a rhythm that would feel strange on land. Then the clock itself starts changing. A plane resets its clock after landing. A ship moves more slowly, so time may be adjusted 1 hour at a time over several nights. A 4-hour watch can stretch to 5 hours or shrink to 3. Cross the international date line and an entire date may disappear. Sail the other way and the crew can live the same date twice. Tuesday may lead directly to Thursday or Monday may return. The rotation continues regardless. International rules normally limit continuous service on board to 11 months. During the pandemic, crew changes became so difficult that many seafarers remained at sea beyond that limit. Keeping people aboard for so long requires the ship to support everyday life far from land. Making water and planning every meal. Fresh water is one of the first problems. A ship may spend weeks away from port, yet the crew still needs water for drinking, cooking, washing, and sanitation. Carrying the entire supply from shore would add weight and place a hard limit on the voyage, so the ship makes its own. A freshwater generator draws in seawater and evaporates it under vacuum. Because the pressure is lower, the water boils at a lower temperature. Salt remains behind while the vapor is cooled and condensed into distilled water. The heat can come from the main engine. Instead of burning extra fuel, the system reuses energy that would otherwise escape. Depending on the vessel, a large ship may produce around 20 to 30 tons of fresh water a day. Food is less flexible. Before departure, provisions must be calculated around crew size, voyage length, delays, and the next resupply. Fresh fruit and vegetables may last only 2 or 3 weeks. Later meals depend more heavily on frozen food, dry goods, and cans. One cook, sometimes with an assistant, may prepare 3 hot meals every day for the entire crew. The food budget often falls around $8 to $13 per person per day, so variety depends on planning rather than abundance. There is no nearby store if the calculations are wrong. Shortages must wait until the next port. That gives the galley surprising influence. After weeks of repeating routes, machinery checks, and watch schedules, a good meal can mark the difference between one day and the next. A serious medical emergency is harder to plan for, when the nearest help is days away. Most container ships do not carry a doctor. Medical responsibility usually falls to a trained officer, often the captain or chief mate. That person has access to a medicine chest, basic treatment equipment, and a small hospital room. If someone breaks a bone, suffers chest pain, is struck by equipment, or develops severe abdominal pain, the officer must assess the situation and begin treatment. Doctors on shore can provide instructions by radio or satellite connection. Since 1935, the Rome-based service CIRM has offered free medical advice to ships around the world. A doctor may guide the captain from land while the patient lies in a room containing little more than one bunk. The real problem is distance. Rescue helicopters cannot reach far into the open ocean, and the nearest suitable port may be 3 or 4 days away at full speed. Until then, the crew must stabilize the patient with what is already on board. The ship may be moving fast, but a serious internal injury can worsen faster than it can reach help. In some regions, danger comes from outside the ship. Before entering waters associated with piracy, vessels may add razor wire, position fire hoses along the rails, increase lookouts, and rehearse emergency procedures. Some ships also contain a reinforced refuge called a citadel, equipped with food, water, and independent communications. If intruders reach the deck, everyone moves into the citadel, seals the entrance, sends a distress call, and may shut down systems needed to control the vessel. The aim is to keep the crew out of reach and make the ship difficult to use. These emergencies are serious, but they do not fill most days at sea. A more common frustration begins when the vessel reaches land. Visiting countries without seeing them. A single contract may carry a ship past a dozen countries. That does not mean the crew gets to explore them. Container terminals are usually fenced, heavily controlled, and located far from city centers. A vessel may remain in port for only 12 to 24 hours. During that time, the crew supervises cargo operations, takes on fuel, checks equipment, receives supplies, completes inspections, and handles paperwork. Going ashore requires more than a free hour. A seafarer may need the correct visa, permission from port authorities, and transport through the secure terminal. If even one piece is missing, the city stays beyond the fence. The crew may see its lights from the deck. By morning, those lights are already behind them. For decades, communication with home created another kind of distance. Letters waited at later ports, while satellite calls were so expensive that a birthday conversation might last only a few minutes. Low Earth orbit satellite internet has changed that experience. On many ships, crew members can now send messages, make video calls, follow family events, or watch a child's game live from the middle of the Atlantic. It allows life at home to remain visible, even when the crew cannot take part in it. After months of interrupted sleep, limited shore leave, and constant responsibility, leaving the profession may seem obvious. Many seafarers still sign another contract. Why they go back? The first reason is practical. While on board, accommodation and meals are provided, and there are few ordinary chances to spend money. A large part of the salary can remain untouched. The work pattern also offers something rare: A person may spend around 6 months at sea, then return home for 3 or 4 months without a daily commute or office schedule. But the decision is not purely financial. A small crew learns to rely on one another. Each person carries direct responsibility for a vessel larger than most buildings, and the results are immediate. The engine runs, the ship stays on course, and the cargo keeps moving. Then there are moments found only far from shore. At night, with no city glow, the sky fills with stars while green bioluminescence flashes through the bow wave. On calmer days, the ocean can become so flat that the ship seems to move across glass. None of this makes the job easy, and not every seafarer feels the same way. For many, the sea is the place they are ready to leave after a long contract, and the place they begin to miss after enough time at home. The hidden journey behind every container. A container on the road is more than cargo inside a steel box. Behind it is a vessel hundreds of meters long, machinery running around the clock, and a small crew that may spend most of a year keeping everything moving. They navigate, repair equipment, produce fresh water, manage food, and handle emergencies far from shore. Once you know what it takes to move that container across an ocean, it no longer looks ordinary. Which detail surprised you most? Share it below and subscribe to Simple Things Revealed for more hidden systems behind the familiar things around us.